What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Modern Missionary podcast presented by ODION Menswear. Hi, my name is Braiden Day. I'm the CEO of ODION Menswear, and we're really excited to have you. We're really excited to start this podcast. Little about me. So, like I said, I'm the CEO of ODION Menswear. So I've been working for ODION Menswear for about 9 years. So it was CTR Clothing originally, then Modern Missionary, then ODION. So I started working here right as soon as I got home from my mission. I got home in March, and I started working in April of 2015. So it's been an awesome time. I've absolutely loved working here and kind of just worked my way up little by little. And it's been an awesome thing. We've expanded a lot, and we've grown a lot. We've changed a lot. Obviously through three rebrands. Well, yeah, 2 rebrands. We're on the 3rd name. It's been awesome. So a couple things about me besides my experience at ODION. I am originally from Fillmore, Utah. I was born in Utah County, but I was raised my whole life basically in Fillmore, Utah. Small town. There's about 2,500 people in Fillmore. My graduating class was 74. So super tiny. I absolutely loved it. After high school, I went to BYU for a semester. I was planning on going for a full year, and then the age change happened. So I was one of the first missionaries to serve at age 18. So super crazy. I only went to 1 semester. The age change happened. I put my papers in, and I actually got my call in November, but didn't leave clear until March. So I had a long time to wait. I probably could have gone to another semester and just pushed it off another month. I could have waited to put my papers in, I guess, if I would have known. But it worked out amazing. I absolutely loved my mission. I was called to serve in the Monterrey West Mexico mission. I guess Mexico Monterrey West mission. And I absolutely loved it. So let's talk a little bit about why we're doing this podcast. First off, let's talk about the rebrand from Modern Missionary to ODION. So we've been serving missionaries, like I said, since 2012. It's been a long time. I wasn't working there in 2012, but started in 2015, like I said. It's something that we've been really passionate about. And honestly, over time, we've gotten better and better and better at serving missionaries. And we kind of got to the point where we were getting awesome feedback from missionary families and missionaries that were coming in, but we realized we were closing ourselves off to so many people. If we had missionary in the name, it just wasn't cool. It wasn't something that it kind of turned people off if the missionary was in the name. And although I absolutely love missionaries, I've been doing this for so long, I love selling to missionaries and working with missionaries. It's still, there is something there, and I can't deny that there's a little bit of cheesiness that comes with being a missionary. And so people didn't want to shop there. So we wanted to take that same experience that we had learned how to give to missionaries and be able to kind of walk them through big decisions and big life events and help other people. So there's so many other people that still are buying the same product that missionaries need for events that are not like missions maybe, but are still big life events: weddings, proms, ordinations, job interviews, just day-to-day life, all those different things. And so we felt like we were prime and ready for helping those other people. So we want to take that same experience we were giving to missionaries and give it to more people. So we rebranded to a name that didn't really have any connotation of anything. We created this name. We did some branding research and decided to go that route and build our own brand. And we were really excited about that. But we do not want it to get misunderstood that we are not a missionary company anymore. We still have missionary as a huge core of our business, and we're really passionate about missionaries still. So one of the ways that we're showing that, and one of the things we're doing with that, is we're starting this podcast. We have missionary experience, and we have connections with lots of missionaries, past, present, and future. And we're really excited to be able to share that experience and connect people. So that brings me to the point and the purpose of this podcast. The purpose of this podcast is to help missionaries connect with other people who have either served missions, are about to serve missions, maybe they served just recently, maybe they served forever ago, or maybe they're mission presidents, or they have been mission presidents. So we're really excited to kind of get all walks of life, all types of stages of missionary work, and talk to them. Because missionary work can be hard, and I'm really excited to talk about that and connecting those missionaries. One thing I want to clarify really quick. So yes, we are a company that sells to missionaries. This podcast, our hope and goal of this podcast is to not talk very much about product. We don't want product. Obviously, I'm passionate about product. I've been doing it for 9 years, and it's been something that's really important to me. But we want to stay away from the product as much as possible. There might be a couple times it comes up with an interviewee, things like that, about a certain product they took. But the point of this podcast is to talk more about their experiences and the other part of the missionary work that they can work on or that they can learn about. If you want to learn about the product and you want to be outfitted, come to our store. That's what we're there for. But this podcast, we don't want it to be that way at all. We want it to be something that can be more conversational about experiences that happen, things you wish you would have known, things you wish you wouldn't have known, maybe different things like that. So it'll be really exciting, and we're really excited to have everybody here listening. Okay, so one of the things about the podcast is, yes, we want to be talking about all those different things, but to think that I know all those things is obviously not true. So we are going to be doing a interview-based podcast for a couple different reasons. One, we have so many people that have so many experiences, and so we want to be able to glean information from different people. And like I mentioned earlier, I want to have people that maybe are about to serve missions, that have their mission calls, or don't even have their mission calls. I want to have people that just got home from their mission, people who have been home for a year or two, maybe 9 years like me, or we can go even further. Maybe we get on somebody who's been home for 30 years, something like that. So really, really excited about that ability to kind of talk through missions, and maybe even talk about the evolutions and changes that happened in missions, and the difficulties and amazing things about missions. We would love to have feedback. That's obviously super important for us to know how we can improve and edit this podcast going forward. Okay, so I want to talk about my mission just for a little bit, and something that really made me excited and inspired to do this podcast as we kind of looked at this as an option. So, as I said, I served in Monterrey, Mexico. So I'm one of two boys. My dad is one of four boys. So he served in Oaxaca, Mexico. And then the next brother got called to Mexico City, but ended up going to the Canary Islands. The next one went to Argentina, and then the next one went to Monterrey, Mexico. And so all four went Spanish speaking. And I grew up my whole life thinking I'm going Spanish speaking. I wanted to go Spanish speaking. I thought I was going to go Spanish speaking. So I prepped. And I always wanted to go to Mexico, honestly, because my dad and my other uncle had served there. So that was my dream, is to go to Mexico. So I opened my call, and it's Monterrey, Mexico. Same place as my uncle. We got super excited. He was super pumped. We talked about all kinds of different things about the area. I was so pumped to speak Spanish. I had practiced a little bit my whole life. I thought I knew what I was getting myself into. We'll talk about that here in a minute. And I am just super, super, super excited. I get to the MTC, and little story. So I took a class at BYU before my mission, and it was a Spanish class. It was actually Spanish 101 and 102 put together in one semester. We won't talk about my grade in that class. Wasn't great. But I had taken that class, and I'm guessing because my grade was so bad, the MTC, I never got a call of like, hey, what level are you in Spanish or things like that. So I never got a call. I got put in the lowest level, and I get to the MTC, and I'm like way ahead of these kids. Obviously not great because I didn't do well in my college class, but way ahead of these kids. And my dad had told me before, when I went into the MTC, like, hey, you're going to think you understand Spanish. You'll leave the MTC and you're not going to know like Spanish. And I was like, okay, like I'll believe you. I can see that being the case. And I get to the MTC, and I shouldn't say way ahead of these kids. Some of you guys might be listening. So I just felt like I was quite a bit ahead of most of the people in my class. And so I was thinking, like, you know what? My dad was like these guys. I'm totally going to have Spanish down. I'm going to have it figured out. It'll be great. And so I still remember like it was yesterday. I get on the plane. I'm flying into, we flew to Dallas before we went out to Monterrey. And we're in the Dallas airport. And we're at a Popeyes. I remember like it was yesterday. And I thought, I'm understanding most of the things my teachers are saying. I'm at least going to be able to follow conversations. And we get to that Dallas airport, and we go into a Popeyes, and I hear two Hispanics talking to each other. Not a lick. Nothing. I didn't understand anything at all. And that was a really humbling experience for me. So fast forward a couple months, and I am struggling. I was there, and I really felt like my only purpose of being on a mission at that point in time was to be my companion's companion. He couldn't be alone, so I had to be there, so he wasn't alone. And that was really depressing. It was, as somebody especially who had hoped and dreamed of going Spanish speaking and then getting there and it being so hard, it was difficult. And that's kind of one of the things that I really want to focus on, is to talk about the difficulties of a mission. I don't feel like I was really prepared for that. My whole life, everybody pumped me up about how it was the best 2 years and all these different things. And don't get me wrong, I think that's still important. I think getting people excited about missions is awesome. It was an amazing time in my life. I changed so much during that time, and it was something I actually really, really enjoyed. But nobody told me about the hard stuff. Or maybe they did and I wasn't listening, but I don't remember being told very much about the hard stuff. They were talking about some of the crazy stuff, but like the actual difficulties that I was going to be dealing with and how much I was going to be depressed over those first few months, I just don't feel like I ever got talked about. So I I want to talk about that. I want to talk about how difficult it is. Because like I said, I'm in Mexico 2 months in, and I don't speak anything. I'm literally walking all day long, eating food that sometimes was the best food I've ever eaten. Some of it was like, I don't know that I want to eat this. But it was difficult for me, but I made it through, and it made me better. But during that time, I thought I was the only one struggling like that. I didn't know my companions. I ended up, a couple months in, we went to a big mission conference, and I talked to some of them that were in the MTC with me, and they were like, "Yeah, I'm struggling too, dude." And it was so good to hear that somebody else could be struggling too. And it didn't mean that I was happy they were struggling. It just meant that I wasn't the only one struggling. And so I'm really passionate, and something I've always tried to talk to missionaries that come into the stores is that it's okay to struggle. It's going to be hard, especially if you're learning a language. It'll be hard in those first couple months. The truth is, every mission has its own difficulties. I truly believe that every mission is just as difficult as other missions. It's just in completely different ways. The challenges will come no matter what. You just have to know that they're going to be there and then keep pushing through those. And again, I think they're essential that they are hard. But I just wish I would have known about it, talked about it a little bit more so I could be prepared for the hard. So that's one of the things we're going to do here is I want to talk to the different interviewees that we have about the difficult things they had on their mission, the things they absolutely loved from their mission, maybe the craziest food they ate, the best food they ate, and then some of the crazy experiences they had, and then obviously just talk about all kinds of different little things that they had. So really, really, really excited to share this and help missionaries prepare for missions, and even return missionaries. We'll probably have some recent return missionaries, and maybe we'll get into some of the details that will help you cope and get ready to come home or be home for the next little while. So we're really, 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 really excited to have you here, and we're excited to get this podcast going. We're going to be able to be streamed on Spotify, and then I'm trying to get on all the other platforms. We'll have the long form on YouTube. There will also be YouTube Shorts, and then we will have Instagram Reels that will be rolling with some of the smaller stuff too. So we're really, really excited to have you. This is the Modern Missionary Podcast.